Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is Rock and Swat coming at you with my top 10 movies of 2014. First and foremost, we'll be focusing on movies that had an actual theatrical release. This does not necessarily mean I saw them in theaters, but they had a theatrical release. That being said, let's get on with the list. Starting at number 10, The Interview. First off, this is just what I expected from a Seth Rogen, James Franco movie. It was dumb funny, enjoyable, but, dumb funny. That being said, there were some rather amusing digs at, first of all, tabloid journalists, tabloid journalism in general. I would not even remotely call any of that a subtle dig. That was a very obvious dig. Partially the fact that James Franco's character is... Well, he's pretty stupid, to be perfectly honest. Also, there were, of course, none too subtle digs at North Korea and President Kim Jong-un. Speaking of President Kim, Randall Park, who portrayed him in the movie, was really good and made every scene he was in his. I would really like to see more of Mr. Park in future roles as time goes on. Anyway, moving on to number 9, Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. First off, the movie looked and felt exactly like it should, just like the original. The recasting of characters where needed was quite good. Josh Brolin made just as good a Dwight as Clive Owen, pulling off the whole Dwight before his new face. I was kind of saddened to not see a brief cameo of Clive Owen, basically after the plastic surgery was done. Also, Dennis Haysbert replacing the late Michael Clark Duncan as Manute, and doing just as excellent a job, having just the same presence that Duncan had. There were also some excellent new additions to the cast of characters. Eva Green and Chris Maloney especially were the standouts there. Also, the news stories were very good. Especially the tale. Well, let's see. There was the one involving Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a gambler who runs afoul of Senator Rourke, and also Nancy getting her revenge on Senator Rourke. Both were great tales. I would say the only real problem with the movie is that it took so damn long to get made and released, because it's hard to put out a sequel nearly a decade later. It just doesn't, to me it still felt the same, but it just, there were some elements where it's like, it would be great if I was seeing this 6 years or so ago, but the weight kind of was detrimental to the movie in general. Moving on to number 8, Edge of Tomorrow. First off, fast paced. The action very rarely let up. Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise were both excellent in their roles. Bill Paxton did a great job in his. Brendan Gleeson. However, once you get past the names, you kind of end up with a lot of people who just seem to be along for the ride, which just it really took away from giving a shit about them. Sure, you learned about the characters, but it just felt hard to care. Anyway, it was still not a bad movie, and it had some the beach scene. Every time you see it, was great. Anyway, moving on to number 7, John Wick. Now, this surprised me. I heard all manner of great reviews when it came out, but I kind of thought to myself, okay, yeah, they're great reviews, but how good can it really be? I mean, it seems like a fun movie, but, I watched it, and it was excellently paced. It seemed like between action sequences, you had just enough time to catch your breath, and then, boom, into another one. Also, the action sequences were superbly shot and choreographed. I mean, everything flowed with it. The casting, oh my god! I mean, Keanu Reeves. This is probably his best performance since the first Matrix movie. I would probably say. Also, Willem Dafoe. Adrian Palicki, Ian McShane, Alfie Allen. Everyone was batting 1,000 in their parts. It was a good flick. There were still better movies, but still, it was all in all a good movie. I definitely enjoyed it. I do not regret having spent money on it. That's for sure. Anyways, moving on to number 6, X-Men: Days of Future Past. First and foremost, I want to say this right off. This is the best X-Men movie since X-Men 2. First off, excellent use of new characters. The Quicksilver scene. Do I need to say more? The Sentinels, both in the past and in the future, were great. It was just nice to finally see Sentinels. However, and this is coming from a Wolverine fan, having Wolverine as the central character in the X-Men movies over and over again, it's getting a little tiresome, And I mentioned the excellent use of new characters. Sadly, because of the way the movie goes, those characters we're not going to see again. Or at least not like that. Anyway, like I said, it was still good. Damn good. Anyway, on to number 5. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. First off, great use of source material. Especially blending said source material. Ed Brubaker's Winter Soldier story arc from when he started, from the beginning of his run on Captain America. And blending that with what's established already with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They did a really good job on that, and I was impressed. The cast, all of them felt just right. Nobody seemed to have kind of any awkward, moments of not. They never seemed to not belong. Also, there were little things in the movie that are also quite good, like Captain America's list of things he's missed. That was a nice touch. The way him and Falcon just connected on being soldiers. I thought that was really good. Nothing felt forced. Everything seemed to serve the movie's plot, including the name dropping. Namely Dr. Stephen Strange. And it also proved that you don't need an Avengers movie to have a major event or a game-changing event in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as we saw with the downfall of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm still not entirely sold on the idea of doing the Civil War story in a Captain America movie, but Winter Soldier was a step in the right direction for that. Anywho, moving on to number 4. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. First off, a stunning, absolutely stunning use of motion capture, which between Rise and Dawn has improved greatly. And Andy Serkis and the rest of the actors playing the apes were excellent. Also, the apes truly came off as fully realized characters, which that was excellent. It's perfect. Sadly, the human characters felt less realized. Each one kind of seemed to have their one trick, and that did kind of take away from the movie. But all in all, it was damn good. I'm really hoping they continue this story, this method of retelling the Planet of the Apes story and telling how things got to where they were when the ship crashes. Moving on to number 3, The Hobbit: Battle of Five Armies. First off, the same epic scale as the first two parts, which good, excellent, beautifully shot. It helps to have a beautiful backdrop to shoot on, but still, there were a few things that really just kind of detracted from it. First off, as I've mentioned multiple times before, the Tariel Keeley love story. That I like Tariel as a character, I like Keeley, but that them as a thing, just no. Also, and this is stuff I mentioned in my review about a month and a half or so ago. Some of the ridiculousness of the battle scene also kind of detracted from the movie. It just didn't feel all that. It was enough to pull me out of it, basically. Anywho, moving on to number 2, The Grand Budapest Hotel. First, quirky and fun. It was quite amusing to see how Wes Anderson worked in his regulars. I have to admit, I was quite surprised to see how he worked in Owen Wilson. Also, it was fun and just lighthearted. Even in its darkest moments, it's still a lighthearted movie, and I thought that was actually really well done. I want to say it was interestingly shot, but it wasn't so much the way it was shot, so much as just the backgrounds were very cool. Very, very. In all honesty, a lot of the backgrounds were very minimalist, but perfect. Also, the way the story is told was quite interesting. Basically, as an author telling a story. A girl finds a book, starts reading it, and then we see the author telling the story, and then we flash back to the 60s, and then even back further. It was quite good, and especially if you like Wes Anderson's other movies, you probably enjoy this one too. Finally, top spot of the year, Guardians of the Galaxy. Just like last year with Pacific Rim, it's exactly what it's promised. It was fun. Yeah, it had its dark moments, but those dark moments, basically, it's kind of the whole thing of you can't have light without dark. Excellent performances all around. Even the characters who were undercharacterized, such as Ronan the Accuser, they were all excellently played or portrayed by their various actors. And I gotta say, I am very, very eager to see how Guardians, eventually at least, links to the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, aside from the obvious, Thanos. That's the top 10. Now, there were a few that were very close to me. The Lego Movie, but there were just little things about it that I just couldn't justify putting on the list. Godzilla. Honestly, if it had focused more on Godzilla than on the human characters, it probably would have made the list. Then there were a couple that, had I seen, probably would have made the list. First off, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, which I still intend to watch as soon as I can. In fact, I'm probably just going to straight up buy the movie when it comes out. Hopefully, I'm hoping that it at least gets some of its major Oscars that it's nominated for. And Interstellar. I like Nolan. I like sci-fi. How can I not watch that one, right? Now, a couple of disappointing movies this year. First off, Transcendence. Transcendence could have been this deep, thought-provoking movie about where we're going with computer technology. Instead, it just ended up being so much less, and you can pretty much sum up so much of the movie with a line of Jeff Goldblum's from Jurassic Park. Your scientists were more concerned with what they could do that they didn't, while they were worried about if they should do it. And to be perfectly honest, the Paul Bettany character, if he'd been just replaced with Jeff Goldblum reprising the Ian Malcolm role from Jurassic Park, probably would have actually made the movie better. And now the one that was probably the most disappointing, Amazing Spider-Man 2. First off, Andrew Garfield is not a good Peter Parker. He's an excellent Spider-Man, but there's no difference between the two. And there should always be a difference between the two. Tobey Maguire made an excellent Peter Parker. It seems like they basically skipped over the Michael Keaton era for the equivalent of Michael Keaton era for the Spider-Man movies, and have gone just straight to Val Kilmer and George Clooney. There were things I liked, but it was disappointing. It ended up being very disappointing, especially the fact that the universe building was so forced. That's why I mentioned universe building with. I often compare this to Captain America, and the fact that in Winter Soldier, the universe building seemed to have an organic flow to it. It worked with the story. It was never a point of, oh, hey, let's just shove this in here. No, it was, for example, the name drop of Stephen Strange. Agent Sitwell is listing off people that are being watched by S.H.I.E.L.D. So, yeah, why not mention Stephen Strange? Also, the Rhino. And the fact that I pretty much saw every bit of footage with him before I walked into the theater. This is not the fault of the movie. This is more the fault of Sony Pictures, and the fact that they should have minimalized how much they show of him. But I kind of understand. I'm guessing they didn't want to say, "Oh, hey," they wanted the Green Goblin to be a surprise. And maybe they wanted to have it that way so that people wouldn't think, oh, they're just rehashing the Sam Raimi stuff. Apparently the future of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise is in flux, so we'll see what happens from there. Anyway, before I go, I'd like to once again mention the fact that a friend of mine has started her own stream on Twitch.com where she plays League of Legends. There will be a link in the description below Ashlyn Rainey, all one word. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter, like the channel's Facebook page, and I'll be back on Wednesday with the weekly TV roundup. Okay, and as always, live long, rock hard.